What's going on, everybody? Jorge Aquino coming to you live and direct. This is Tormenting Tarmac. It's the podcast where the enthusiast never dies. Coming at you again on another warm evening here on the west end of Phoenix. I didn't even look at the weather report, but I was outside, and I can tell you it was definitely over 108 degrees. And I walked back happily inside, and I was like, I need AC. My guest this evening, calling in from a little bit less warmer climate, but very humid where he's at, I would assume.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and the privilege of having EddieX on the podcast. What's up, Eddie? Welcome to TT, brother.
Thank you for having me. Very excited.
Dude, I'm
Appreciate it.
very, oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Of course, big shout out to, of course, our friends, Automotive Alex and Steven here in the Phoenix area and whatnot. We had the pleasure of being able to go ahead and meet about a year and a half ago, the last time that you came down to the Phoenix area, which was great.
Mhm.
You come down here quite a bit. Like you do like two or
Pretty
three times a year?
often.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just made a lot of friends in the Phoenix area. Some friends from California that moved there and just started going out there. And sometimes the manufacturers have drive events too.
True.
So if there's a media program, there's been times where I'll just extend a little bit longer, come in earlier. But yeah, definitely the car community there is amazing. Obviously, the weather in the winter is significantly better than the weather here. So,
Amen to that.
and then the first winter I took delivery of my Z06, I got it in like December, and I'm like, what's the point of getting this car, just throwing it in a garage? So I shipped it out to Cali, drove it to Scottsdale, left it there for the winter, and made trips out there. But regardless, over the last couple of years, definitely probably more than 2 to 3 times, maybe 3 to 5 times a year.
That's
I'll
what's
make a
up.
trip out there because yeah, I really enjoy my time in Scottsdale. I briefly thought about buying like a little townhouse out there, a bunch of Zillow searches. Never came to fruition quite yet, but definitely have many fond memories and experiences out in the greater Phoenix area.
Oh no, for sure. I love it out here. I'm originally from Tucson, which is, as you probably aware, just an hour. Well, from where I'm at, probably a tick over 2 hours and whatnot. But from Phoenix downtown, probably about an hour and a half,
Yeah.
and whatnot. And I just love Southern and Central Arizona. The summers can be relatively unbearable, but if you go ahead and hold out to the fall and the winter, like what other place in the Union can you go ahead and have like 75-degree weather on Thanksgiving and then 65 degrees on Christmas? You know what I'm saying? Like you can't
Yep.
beat that, bro. It's so
Yeah.
so good. I mean, I've had and the cool thing is that because we are surrounded by the mountains and sometimes we have these storm systems that come in, for anybody who's listening that's not familiar with Arizona, like people think to themselves, "Oh, you don't get like they think that we don't get snow here." And like
You go up in the
far
mountains,
from
yeah.
it. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we very much do. Like especially if Mount Lemon in particular gets snow every year, which is one of the
Uh,
it's the one of the mount it's off the foothills in Tucson that gets snow all the time. Flagstaff gets snow every year. If you're up in Prescott, which is just an hour and a half north from Phoenix, they get snow every year. It gets cold up there,
yeah.
and like depending on like if it's a like a really cold front that's coming in, like the north end of Scottsdale will go like if it rains in like the downtown greater Phoenix metro area, if you're north of Phoenix, you're going to go ahead and get snow sometimes. And then it'll be like a 40-degree day. So it happens every once in a while and it's sublime. Like I dig
It's the
it.
desert. It's the desert. People
The
don't expect it
desert.
to get cold. Same thing like Vegas. I remember the first couple times I went to Vegas, I'm like, wait, why is it like 50 degrees at night right now? It's freezing. I was
I know,
expecting
dude.
heat,
Did you
but yeah, it gets cold.
it does. Did you go to the first Vegas Grand Prix? Did you get a chance to go?
Yeah, I went to the first one. That's the only
That
one
was
I've been to in
cold as
Vegas.
balls, dude, in 2023. Like they were, if I'm not mistaken, the race started at like 10 p.m. and then qualifying the night before. And it was like, I don't think people realize it was like
It was
high 30
chilly.
degrees
Yeah.
Fahrenheit. It was
I had
real cold.
I
And
had
I've
my
seen,
McLaren jacket on and I had everything. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Well,
that's
also
awesome.
the first day, I remember I was already exhausted because I've been traveling so much that
Sure.
month and a half prior. And I remember walking out onto the balcony with a glass of champagne. I'm like, woohoo, it's finally FP1 for the first ever Vegas Grand Prix. And then 9 minutes in, everything gets red flagged. I'm like, what? Is that it? Like
Is
what?
that
And
it? Is
like
that's how this is gonna go?
I stayed in the paddock until almost like 2 in the morning,
Holy
and just was
smokes.
like, this is. And I had a lot of champagne because there's nothing else to do other than eat and drink champagne and wait.
Amen to
And ended up
that.
going back to the room and just passed out because I don't think they resumed until like almost 3 or something in the morning. That was crazy.
Was FP1 when that manhole cover came off and that's when Carlos went
Science.
into the wall?
Yeah. Oh,
That was
I don't, did he
FP1,
go
right?
to a wall? I thought he just smashed the underside of his car and he slowed down. Whatever.
Maybe that
That's
was
what
it.
happened.
He hit it
Yeah.
at whatever it was. He did hit it at like about 145, 150 miles an
Sucked
hour,
it
which
up.
was yeah, which is crazy. Like
Yeah.
that's not normal, dude. It's like to hit something that fast and then for it to be like coming at a weird angle. Like I remember that, and I was like, he's lucky to be alive. And
Oh yeah,
what
it cracked the carbon cell, I think, which
it was,
is
yeah,
it's happened before. It's always these street tracks. I think in
yeah,
Baku, George's car did it once before too. And it's like they reinforce the actual metal manhole cover, but they produce so much downforce now that they suck up like the all the asphalt around the whole manhole cover.
that's
It's
wild, dude.
absurd. Yeah, I mean these cars, I mean the ground effect cars are ridiculous these days. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was
it's
wild.
it's so, I mean, that's what makes Formula One so cool. People ask, like, I'm a big fan of, I try to be a fan of all motorsports. I pay attention to IndyCar when I can. I try, I
Mhm.
pay attention a lot to NASCAR. Obviously, they race a bunch in Bell. The IndyCar has the Detroit GP, which is on Belle Isle, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, these
Not
days.
anymore. It's downtown Detroit now. They moved
Detroit,
it.
excuse me, it
The
was
street race.
up until a couple of years ago. It was at Belle
Yeah.
Isle, and then they moved
Yeah.
it to downtown Detroit, which is
Correct.
really sick. And then what's the name of the big racetrack that NASCAR uses in Michigan? Is
In
that
Michigan, Michigan International Speedway, MIS.
Michigan?
It's a big
Yes, that
oval. Yeah.
does. And if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that has one of the fastest straightaways in all of NASCAR. Like, isn't
That I
qualifying time?
don't know, but it's a big track. It's a
The big
big
track.
oval. Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
there a couple times for races and for other things where you do the infield too and a big loop, but it's a big proper oval.
No, for sure. I think I've
Yeah.
seen like people when trying to qualify, they'll be qualifying at like over 230 miles an hour, which is like nuts, dude. Like that
Yeah.
is so fast. And I mean, I
Yeah.
know I think the Indianapolis
$500.
International, yeah. I think they're doing like about 240, but like that's open wheel. So to do 230 in a stock car is like, yo, this thing is like like 1,500 pounds heavier than this open wheel racer, and we're only going 10 miles an hour less. Like,
Pretty crazy.
what is this? Oh my gosh, it's awesome. Well, dude, again, it's fantastic to have you on and everything. There's so many places that I want to go ahead and take tonight's conversation. For people who follow you, obviously they're very familiar with your YouTube channel, they're very familiar with your Instagram content and whatnot. The cool thing about where your journey is, as we find it right now, Eddie, is you went full time on YouTube and on content creation, what, maybe like a year and a half ago, Rocket?
Yeah, well, it's actually really easy marker point is the last day of the 2023, December 31st was my last day fully employed. So starting
Wow.
January 1st, 2024, I was like, oh, I'm self-employed. So it's been a year and 8 months now, right? So coming up on almost 2 years of this, which is kind of crazy that time flew by that quickly.
I know, dude. Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. Congratulations on, not just having not only just manifesting everything, but having the wherewithal and the intelligence to say, you know what, I can do this and I can do this successfully and everything. And now you've got great relationships with a variety of different OEMs, and obviously you continue to go ahead and crank it up on your brand development skills and everything like that. So you're doing an amazing job. I gotta ask you, dude, because again, it's not easy in the sense of wanting to go ahead and make that jump. When I assume that it was months and months in the making, because obviously you'd already been doing it on the side. At what time did you think to yourself, hey, you know what? It's time. It's time to make the enormous move. It's either now or never. When was that?
I can't pinpoint an exact moment of just like, bam, oh, I should do this, right? Like you said, months and months of like leading up preparation, probably about 6 months of time of deliberating, weighing the pros and cons, speaking to my family, a couple close personal friends, running numbers, risk analysis, pros and cons lists, all of those kinds of things. The final thing ended up being kind of a handful. I started building up to the point where it's like, well, realizing that there's never the perfect time. I always tell people
Right.
this, right? If you always wait till when I make X number of dollars from my side business, then I'll quit. When I do this, when I do that, right? And I'm all for making it an informed, logical, well-reasoned, and relatively risk mitigated decision. But there's always going to be a risk. There's always going to be a jump. And you wait for the perfect time, it's not going to happen. So I'm like, you know what? If I don't do it now, I don't want to be 50 years old and looking back regretting never giving it a shot. Because if you at least give it a shot and you fail, at least you tried and did your best. But again, if you never give the shot, there's no shot of it being successful, right? So
Right.
that kind of was one thing in the back of my head. I had been at my full-time job for about 4 years, and it was a fantastic company, fantastic job, really enjoyed it. But it started to kind of mature as an organization and my role. When I came on, the company was I was maybe the 50th employee, so still relatively small, kind of startup feeling,
Oh,
hitting the
okay, I got you.
mid-size. I had a team of three, and then over the course of 4 years, my team grew to 10. The company more than doubled in size, like 120 employees. And a lot of dynamic things happen and amazing experiences and opportunities. But I was also like, you know what? I've seen what I can see out of this role currently. I
Mhm.
want to try something different. And that was a factor there too. And then ultimately, I think the final driving force was like, it's now or never, right? Things feel like it's the right time. I definitely balanced it with like, from a pure mathematical standpoint, I was like, okay, I had these three cars. I had my Z06, my R8, my Shelby. I don't need three cars. Sold two of them, sold my townhouse. I'm like, all right, there's a buffer of cash. And
Mhm.
I essentially did this. I'm a former engineer, right? So I love spreadsheets and analysis and all that kind of stuff, right? So ran all of these like scenarios, like best case, worst case, expected case, like how much am I willing to put up front to fund my existence, to do certain things, all these different scenarios essentially. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. And a lot of conversations, a lot of long nights thinking about it back and forth. Is this the right choice? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? And to be 100% honest, the first year was tough. I mean, I knew it was
Sure.
going to be challenging, and there were some things that were great, some things that weren't great. A lot of it had to do with my own personal mindset and learning various different things. I've always viewed myself as a pretty hard worker, and like accountability and things like that are great, but it is a different world when you don't have that hanging threat of a full-time job where you are beholden to an organization and a team. I'm my own accountability person. I've got nobody else. It's me, my own videos, my own time, my own energy. So the deadlines are purely self-imposed. I mean, you do get some from OEMs and embargoes and things like that, but it's been an amazing learning experience. It's had lots of challenges, lots of amazing, awesome opportunities, but overall, fantastic.
No, for sure. I mean, I see you doing your thing, and I'm like, okay, he definitely made the jump and was swam with the sharks, and now became his own shark. And I got nothing but respect for you, bro. Like, it's
Thank you.
amazing. No, absolutely. Take us behind the scenes for 1 second, if you don't mind. Like, what if someone who isn't, whether they're an aspiring YouTuber or they're currently doing YouTube themselves or content creation, and they're in the same bubble that you were in prior to December of 2023 before making the jump and then making the jump, what would you say was the most, especially based on what you were just saying, what would you say was probably the most surprising thing to you after you made the jump, where you were like, it wasn't necessarily unexpected, but you talked about like, hey man, this is going to be tough. What were some of those that you were able to go ahead and obviously build on and make yourself better, but more so that people wouldn't necessarily realize if they decided to go ahead and make the same decision that you made?
The most surprising thing would be, I think, how wide open your potential feels. Like you're like the road in front of you.
Yeah.
You have so many more different avenues all of a sudden when your time is your own, whether from a personal standpoint or a professional standpoint or other business things like that. Like opportunities start coming as long as you're working hard, right? And it kind of opens the horizon. Now, because when you have a full-time job, that eats into a lot of your time and energy. That's just without
Sure.
a doubt, right? Standard job, 40 hours a week, whether you're hourly or salary. Some roles, if you're maybe higher up in a company in a management position or just in a higher stress role, it's not necessarily just 40 hours. Maybe it's 50 hours. Maybe you're traveling for work. So my job wasn't actually just like, oh, 9 to 5, clock out, done. I mean, there are weekends, there's international trips, there's long nights. So maybe 50, 60 hours sometimes when it's busy, but definitely at least 40 to 50 hours. And then there's also the energy standpoint. There's one thing of like doing a job. Maybe some, if you have a more monotonous, less mentally strenuous role, less so, but most jobs require you to do a lot of critical reasoning and thinking. When I realized it wasn't as much hours as just brain energy. So
Yeah.
like you get to the end of the day, you're like, oh my, feeling like I'm exhausted. I
Right.
can't think about anything. I can't. There were a ton of fires to put out. Like this was super challenging or whatever. And once you have your own time and energy, you can A, prioritize your main thing, but then also it just opens up this horizon of like more different things. Like your time is your own. I can move things around. And then it just kind of opened up everything. All the ideas that I had, I just never had time or energy to get to. Now it's
Right.
like, ooh, I could go play around with this. But at the same time, it's like a blessing and a curse. It's like you've got all the time and energy to do all the things you want to do, but then there's like, oh my goodness, there are like 100 things to do, and I have time to do maybe 20 of them. So then prioritizing comes into play, figuring out what is going to be most important, what needs to happen first, what has the biggest impact, business critical things or most potential ideas, things like that. But I think it's really just like how your view and your life kind of opens up. You're like, whoa, all of these things can be done now. But then you have to balance that with like you got to have some discipline and time management, which I think is a constantly evolving thing for everybody. So yeah,
It's
that
something that
probably
I
be
still
my
struggle
long
with myself,
question.
by the way.
Long.
Yeah. I still just struggle with that. Like because I work my 9 to 5, 8 to 5 here, and then I actually have a part-time job on top of that. Plus, I'm a dad and a husband, and then I do TT on the side. So
Yeah.
I ask myself, I'm like, man, did I signed up for a lot? You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes it actually. I wonder to myself, do I have the energy to do this podcast? Actually, that's not true. I always have energy to do the podcast. It's whether or not I have any energy to edit the fucking podcast.
Yes,
That's,
yes,
you know what I'm
yes,
saying? That's where it's like,
yes.
oh my God. Like, I got to listen through it, make sure that I didn't say anything erroneous, make sure that I didn't
Yeah.
go ahead and say anything completely out of pocket because I've said some out of pocket things before on the podcast, but I got to make sure that nothing too crazy or I'm going to get canceled and
Mhm.
everything. And so, like, when I do that and obviously maintaining the Instagram account, I'm like, bro, this is like, really weighing on me. And then I have my job, which I'm very blessed to have, but it's one of those things of like, it's not, I'm doing this, I'm having fun with this. I wish this
Yeah.
were the real job and things of that nature. And sometimes you treat this, but you realize, oh no, but wait, hold on. I need the other job to keep me funded
What
so I
pays the
can continue.
bills?
Yeah, so I can continue to do the
Yeah.
fun thing and everything
Yep.
that nature. So like I'm so happy that you were able to go ahead and be so open about that because I think I've had this conversation. I was actually having this conversation yesterday with Zach Clapman of the Smoking Tire, and I've overheard like I was listening to a Sam Fain actually be on Matt Farah's Smoking Tire podcast the other day, and he was talking about like you and I, we're not kids. We're the adults in the room now. So like all the kids that are still in school, they all want to go ahead, ask them what they want to do. They say, I want to be an influencer. I want to be a
Yep.
YouTube or I want to do content creation. It's like when you and I were kids, like I'm assuming like we wanted to do all the fun, cool stuff. Like, oh, I want to be an actor or I want to go ahead and be an athlete and things of that nature. But they don't realize everything that comes along with. And by the way, I'm an extremely small thing in a very small pond. You're in a much bigger pond and everything like that. And even you and I can have the conversation of like, hey man, just doing this for even for fun isn't
Yeah.
easy and everything like that. So I'm glad that you and others are so grounded to be like, hey man, this is the shit. Like this is super dope, but here's the reality. And you have
Yeah.
to be willing to go ahead and accept certain said reality in order to be successful.
That is something to add on to it. Like one of the surprising things I realized going into it was when it goes from a fun hobby to your full-time job, to what is paying the bills, it changes. And I've seen it happen before, and I was kind of aware that it was going to happen, but
Right.
didn't expect. You never know how it's actually going to feel and come to reality until you actually do it. But when it's a fun hobby, you've got something paying a job. Like for me, my full-time job more than paid for my living. All right, single guy, like my little townhouse was rarely ever home. My cars were the YouTube thing. YouTube paid for my cars and toys and whatever the heck, right? So it was like
Right.
fun money. So that's not as pressing. Like, oh, if YouTube was down all of a sudden or whatever, YouTube went away. Oh no, I sell two cars and I'm okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it's my full-time job, I'm like, oh, my health insurance, oh, my rent, oh, this, right? It's just like, oh man, this month was low on YouTube. What am I gonna do? I gotta dip into my savings, or maybe I found a sponsor, or maybe there's something else that came up from a consulting gig or whatever. It changes. It's not quite as the levity and the just the for fun thing goes away.
Yeah.
When you have a full-time job, let's just say you miss an episode, right, for the podcast, or I miss a video 1 week or something. It's not the end of the world. If I'm missing posting a video or whatever, like it's stressful. It's on the back of my mind, right? It's weighing down. It's like, come on, what are you doing? Get your butt back in gear, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that is a really, really big thing when you do make that jump. It changes the stakes. And that's also part of the you gotta kind of be able to enjoy that and absorb that, but it's undeniable a huge aspect of it.
Oh no, for sure. I can imagine, dude. And yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, but like it's interesting because we always say that the saying is do what you love. And then you finally get a chance to go ahead and do what you love, but then what you love is what's going to be paying the bills. And then all of a
Yep.
sudden it became a real job. And it's like
Yep.
it's thankfully what you do is such a creative outlet that it hopefully doesn't take away from the love of what you do, but it does change the circumstances slightly. But if you are as good as you are and as good as some of the others that are in the space and whatnot, and like it just continues to build and you let it build, you work on making sure that it builds and
Yeah.
continuing to be the fun thing that it started to be from the get-go, you're in the right place. You're doing it the right way. And so that's commendable and everything. Do me a favor, take me back for 1 second, because obviously we kind of jumped into the middle of it and whatnot. But
Mhm.
where did the whether or not the love for car culture, or really even the the decision to be like, oh, I'm just gonna even do this on the side. When was that? Like, are we talking like mid 2010s, something like that, or
The way I started in this world, so like if we rewind really far back, I just got into cars somehow. My parents could not care less about cars, but in like elementary school, I remember starting to watch like Top Gear, reading all the
yeah,
Car and Driver Motor Trend magazines and Hot Wheels, and it just became a thing, like Legos and all that kind of stuff, right?
yep.
And that evolved as we get into middle school, high school obsession. And when I went to school, I went to University of Michigan for engineering, wanted to be chief
Oh,
engineer
shout
at
out to
some
the
point.
Wolverines. That's what's up. All right, that's
Indeed,
it.
indeed.
Listen, I hate Ohio State, so go Michigan. Right? Let's go.
I agree. But wanted to be vehicle engineer, went into mechanical engineer after worked at Ford for a couple years. But when I was
Yeah.
in school at U of M freshman year, taking differential equations, sat next to this kid Parker, and he had an SLS on his phone, and we just ended up kind of hitting it off and chatting about cars. And he had a small channel to point vehicle virgins that he hadn't done a ton with school and things like that. But we became really good friends, started filming videos together for YouTube for fun. He brought me in on that. And like we started with my mom's Ford Flex and my dad's Ford Fusion. Like there's that video like 10, 12 years ago. And that just kind of started snowballing in school, got press cars, it grew a lot. And then, but it always remained kind of a hobby slash side business for me. I always still had a full-time job. I worked at Ford for a couple years, went in an aftermarket, was in a couple different roles there, and just always had it on the side. Ended up doing my own channel, which I have now that we've talked about. But that's kind of how it just kind of grew and grew, and definitely became much more confident on camera, learn how to present and speak and channel the passion, energy. I always had the innate ability to just memorize lots of information and facts, which has served me well. I mean, it worked for engineering school. It worked for passing every single standardized test. Like it was a breeze, but it works now because like I can inhale a press release full of specs and
Yeah,
just regurgitate it back, right? And I just have them in my head, right? You ask me any number about the ZR1, I can likely give it to you right now because it's still fresh in
probably.
my mind. So
Yeah,
that's a skill. That's a skill. It's almost like an encyclopedic knowledge of the automotive space in certain capacities. So yeah, that's kind of how I've gotten to where I am now. But
I love
ultimately, it's
that.
just this like spontaneous love of cars. My parents and family, my brothers could not care less. Like I don't think my parents have gone for a ride in my cars in I don't even know how many cars, or the press cars, whatever. I think I scared my mom in one of my first cars, and then she doesn't want to get back in anymore. I managed to talk my dad into an E-Ray. We took a roundabout. I got a little sideways. He goes, "That's enough, Eddie." I'm like, "Okay." So like, it doesn't come from my parents or family. My wife is
Right.
not into cars. She's terrified of like the high horsepower cars. But we're working on getting her more and more into the car world. But yeah,
I
that's kind
love
of where it
that.
came about for me.
That's so good. Let me ask you this, because the way that I see you present sometimes, and the way that you're even expressing yourself now, like I bet if I went ahead and said, "Oh, I can tell who may have been one of your inspirations other than Top Gear," but because like it seems like you and I probably are maybe close to the same age. You might be a little bit younger than I am, but we're like within that millennial, late Gen
Yeah.
Z type right there and whatnot. And if I were to go ahead and tell you, I guarantee you one of your biggest inspirations was Shmi, you'd
Oh
probably
yeah.
look at me and be like, absolutely. But I
Yeah.
can tell also by watching your content, because I get a Shmi vibe from you. It's like you're almost
Yeah.
like an American Shmi in a way. Like
American.
I watch you and I'm like,
Yeah. I'm Shmi from
yeah,
Temu.com.
exactly.
AliExpress Shmi.
Hey man, that's a compliment in and of itself, man. I'm just
Yeah.
no, but it's cool. Like that's the vibe that I get is, because you have there's a variety of different YouTubers and their respective presentation styles. You've got more of those that are a little bit more artsy. There's the ones that, keep it like they are kind of going for like not a necessarily journalistic vibe, but you like giving out the numbers. You are a
Yeah.
spreadsheet type guy. And I
Yeah.
and that's when I've watched me all these years, that's kind of the vibe that I get from him. And that's why I love and respect him and think he's one of the OGs. Like
Yeah.
if we look at YouTube OG automotive media, And we ask ourselves, well, who is the OGs? Well, you've got your Smoking Tires over here. You've got your Chris Harris's over here. You've got Jethro and everything that him and Harry's Garage when they used to do Evo back in the day. And then you can start to get into like the YouTubers. It's like the first YouTuber you would think of is Shmi
Yep.
before you think of Strad, before you think of
Yeah,
Parker,
yeah, yeah.
all that.
Yep.
And so like, I get that. Was he one of the major inspirations? And then
Yeah.
alongside him, who were some of the others that you would watch that you really consumed that kind of formatted you to be the guy that you are today?
Shmi for sure, and he is 100% a machine, a master of everything. And I,
He gets it,
I, I
bro.
would call him a friend now. Tim, we've interacted across, we've got to hang out across the planet. Like I've been over to the museum, visited him over there in the UK, seeing him. I saw him last week. Chatting with him. We'll message each other. It's still kind of surreal sometimes when I get like a WhatsApp message from Tim. I'm just like, oh look, she's texting me, asking about
Yeah.
something, asking me advice, asking my opinion on something, right? I'm like, oh cool. But yeah, 100% him. Smoking Tire actually was a big one. I'm
That's the
pretty sure
shit,
still
dude.
to this day, the first, and you can go on Instagram and look at your following, like the accounts you're
Mhm.
following, and sort from like latest to earliest or whatever.
Yep.
The first account I ever followed on Instagram is the Smoking Tire, Matt
No
Ferris.
way. That's
Yes,
really cool, dude.
100%. Yeah,
That's
100%.
awesome.
Like his videos, like what he was doing, and that definitely was a big, big thing there. And then reading, I actually did a lot of reading the articles, the magazines. So like Motor Trend, Car and Driver, of course, Road and Track, all those big ones. So like Johnny Lieberman, still getting to see him now at various events. I'm like, whoa, this is kind of cool. I made it feel really old. I think we're at Daytona, 24 Hours of Daytona with Cadillac. We were at dinner, and it was one of my first times actually getting like a one-on-one because I'd like seen him at events, but like said, "Hi, Johnny, big
Yeah,
fan,
yeah.
whatever." And we were sitting at dinner. I'm like, "Whoa, we're kind of like at the same table, literally, right?" And
Right.
I was like, I read your articles all the time when I was in high school." And he goes, "Great, that makes me feel old." I'm like, "Oops."
He did the same thing to me. He did the same thing to me.
Yeah.
Yo, let me tell you something. I've told this story a couple times, but I don't think I've told this part of it here. So I'll get a chance to go ahead and tell it to you, and I'll tell it to everybody that's listening. So, in season 2 of this podcast, it was like episode 30, 40-ish or something like that. And I have a friend of mine here she's now in Houston, but she's based out of the Phoenix Scottsdale area. Shout out to Caitlin Klink, KRC Auto.
Oh yeah.
I believe you're familiar with her too. She's amazing, one of the best young photographers out there, and a social media like genius. Like she is the jam. And
I picked a good color for her Camaro. I approve of the
oh,
color
the
for the
rapid blue
Camaro.
goes
Yeah.
insanely
Apple
hard.
blue.
Yeah. You love to see it. I always tease
Yeah.
Johnny. I'm like, Johnny, you copied Clink, but all right, whatever, bro. On his GR Corolla. But you know, so what I remember one day I'm recording with Caitlin over at her parents' place, and she tells Lieberman that she was recording with me. So Johnny, out of nowhere, without Caitlin asking, without anything, Johnny decides to go ahead and throw me a follow. So I'm driving in the middle of a February storm in Phoenix, going from Scottsdale back over here to the West End, and like all of a sudden I get the notification Johnny Lieberman started following you. I'm like, the fuck is going on here? This is crazy. After a month, I shoot him a message. I'm like, yo, Johnny, huge fan. It'd be an honor and a privilege if you'd be able to go ahead and come on the show. No, like, boom. He says, I'd love to. Let's do it. I was like, this is like barely season 2. I've gotten my friends on here. I've gotten to know the Phoenix car community, but this is the first time that like someone that is in the upper echelon of car media is like going to do my show. I'm like, man, this is amazing. And it's Johnny
Yeah.
of all people who is
Yeah.
in the same way you feel about him, same way for me. Like I was 20 years old and I was, reading Johnny Lieberman on Motor Trend and watching Ignition and watching Head to Head. Like, this is my guy. And so, like, I've had the opportunity and the blessing of now him being on the show a multitude of times. And he comes to Phoenix like about a year and a half ago. He was doing a thing for I think they were drag racing an SRT Demon and 812 Superfast over at
Bradford?
the Radford drag strip.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, Jorge, I'm coming down. I'm like, bet, dude, like, let's go get dinner and whatever. And so I'm at the same table as him, right?
Yeah.
We're having dinner. We're having some Mexican food in the spot in Chandler, and it was delicious. And at the end of the night, I'm going to go ahead and I wanted to pay, because I'm like, yo, I'm gonna pay for Lieberman and whatnot. He's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm paying. I was like, Johnny, no, bro, you can't do that. He's like, Jorge, consider this a thank, and this is the bit. consider as a thank you for all the years that you watched Head to Head in Ignition. This is me saying thanks to you and sorry that we raised the price on the Motor Trend app, bro. And I'm never going to forget that. That's going to be one of the coolest things that I can ever have. And I'm happy to say that Johnny, in the same way that you and Shmi are friends, I've, gotten the opportunity to go ahead and become friends with a guy whom I respect and a guy like Johnny Lieberman, and you mentioned Farah and, last year I got a chance to celebrate the 3-year anniversary of this podcast by having him do a show with me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was amazing in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like that was like, oh my God, Fair is now doing the show. And I've had the opportunity to have Clapman on now 3 times.
Yeah, that's cool. I saw
Yeah,
it was
which is
yesterday, right? I saw
yeah,
the post.
exactly. So it'll
Yeah.
be like we're heavy hitters right now, man. We're going Clapman and EddieX back to back, baby. And like, it's just one of those things that it's truly an enormous thing when you get a chance to go ahead and work with the guys and gals who have either helped pave the way or were had to do with a lot of your inspiration to where we get to where you and I have gotten to in some way or shape or form. You know what I mean? And that's amazing. But Shmi's one of the goats, bro. Like he's truly one of the goats. What the empire, let's call it the empire that he's essentially built is unbelievable.
Yeah. So my wife just got to meet Tim for the first time at Car Week. We were on the first night. Of course, you just run into people all over Monterey, and we went to RM to check on a car for a friend, and we were outside like taking a video of all the cars they had on display, and like one of Tim's friends randomly like interrupted my video. I was like, oh, okay, went over there. Anyways, so today I call her. I like heard Tim's voice across the house. I'm just like, is like, babe, are you watching like Shmi's video? She goes, yeah, I want to see all his cars. And she's like watching through one of his like museum tours of this museum. And he goes, oh my God, he has a lot of cars. I'm like, yeah, he has a lot of cars.
Got a
But
lot
it
of
was kind of
cars.
cool, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She got to meet him. But Tim is a machine. The way he can just produce facts on the cars, the amount of people he knows, the amount of things he knows about cars, and the way he
Yeah.
just cranks out content. Respect, absolute respect. Because we're on the side of the fence. We know what it takes. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've got maybe 6 or 7 long form videos to edit right now, and just as many reels and photos to process, and I got to write captions. And he's doing that on a daily basis. It's wild. It's wild,
Yeah.
but
No,
it's like I 100% feel you. It's really really cool getting those experiences with people that you like grew up watching.
exactly. And that it makes it amazing. And it also makes you appreciate everything, the hard work that a guy like him and his team have been able to go ahead and do.
Yeah.
Guys like Sam from Seen Through Glass, who's like one of my favorite YouTube watches and stuff like that. You know what? Like I'll shout him out. Paul Wallace of Supercars London. Like I really enjoyed watching the UK YouTuber scene. Mr. JWW is another guy that I watched for a long time. And like these guys, it's like you get the idea of like, wow, man, it's crazy.
You know what the key is? Their accents. The amount I wish I had an actual British accent. It
It's
just
fact.
makes them sound more
It does.
sophisticated and official to us, right?
It
Like
does.
it just like think on
It's
all the Top Gear guys, Chris Harris, they can say the same thing. They just sound more
proper.
interesting. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It's infuriating. Like I think to myself, man, if I had even a slight British accent, even though I'm Puerto Rican, but even if I had a slight British accent, I guarantee you I'd have 1,000 subs on the YouTube channel by now, just on the podcast alone, bro.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's insane. I'm like, oh, gosh darn it. All right,
I
whatever.
still remember the first time I met some Chinese dude with a British accent. It really threw me off, right? Because I'm like, I couldn't process what was going on.
Sure, dude. Oh, the same thing. Like, like I'll see like someone of African descent and having a British like Idris Alba still having a British accent throws me the hell off, dude.
Yes.
It's insane. And then the homie
Hmm.
that's in the guy that starts opposite Brad Pitt in the F1 movie, like he's a British dude, and I'm just like
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm Damien, I forget his last name, but
Yeah, I'm blanking on it too.
I'm blanking on it, but like him having a British accent, I'm just like, dude. Or you know what, Rory Reed from shout out
Yeah.
to Top Gear, shout out to Rory, like him having a British accent and him having his like, dude, Rory. Here's the thing, I still feel to this day, I think Rory got done a little dirty by Top Gear because he had this like swag, he still has this swagger to him that almost nobody can replicate in automotive media. Like and shout out to him. Now he's doing like he's basically kind of the head of content at Auto Trader UK and everything.
Hmm.
And they're producing amazing content themselves. But like he has everything. He's got the swagger, yet he's got the knowledge. And then on top of that, he's got the driving skill, and he's got the presentation. And it's like everything can be gravitated towards him. Like a variety of watchers can go ahead and gravitate towards him in a very special way that doesn't happen for a lot of automotive media outlets. And it's really incredible. And I have the utmost respect for that dude. And the only reason why I was saying that I felt like he got done a little bit dirty by Top Gear was like when LeBlanc decided to say, "Hey, I'm done. I did my 5 years that I promised. I'm out." And Chris Harris deserved to be promoted. Like there is no doubt in my mind. We all knew he was going to be the guy. I just thought it would be him and Rory. And so when the producers said, "Oh, we're not bringing back Rory," I was like, "Oh man, really?" Because like it took
Yeah.
3 years for him to really develop some
Yeah.
excellent chemistry with LeBlanc and with Harris, and you're just going to throw that away. And
Yeah.
it never sat well with me. But to see him now being so successful with what he's doing with Auto Trader UK's YouTube channel, it's like, okay, you know what? It worked out for him anyway because now he's absolutely slaying on that end. You know what I mean?
There has to be so much pressure for any of them to step into those shoes, whether it's Top Gear or Grand Tour, because like
Sure.
it's a whole generational thing.
The
Like you're
Throttle's
never
House
gonna.
guys are gonna have to
I
experience
heard.
that.
Is
Yeah.
that confirmed or not? Like it's like a rumor. I should just text James and ask him. But like, is it confirmed? I don't know.
You know what? If you want to text him right now, we can break the news officially on the
I
podcast.
don't
Like that
think
would be
I don't think
so
he'll give
sick.
it to me.
Yeah.
I'll text him though. We'll see if he. Yeah.
Because I know that like I remember Matt and Zach brought it up on TST a couple months back that it would like they made it seem like it was the thing. And it's like, all right, I guess that's the thing. And like if there's going to be two guys that they're going to go ahead and bring in, hey, you can't
Oh,
go wrong with
100%.
James and Thomas. Like they're
Yeah. Yeah.
really, really good. And like
Yeah.
they've what they've done with Throttle House is absolutely amazing in and of itself.
Yeah.
And
I
just
actually know James from before Throttle House.
oh no kidding. Okay, what's that
He
story?
he he lived in Michigan. He had this white F-Type R, and we were doing one of those like car driving rally events. I had my i8 at the time, and yeah, he was just a British car enthusiast dude who lived in Michigan, and yeah, well, like we stayed in touch, whatever. And then years later, I saw him pop on YouTube. Like, wait, that's James. Like, you're on YouTube now. Cool, good for you. And it's
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, him and Thomas are pretty fantastic. Their
they
skits when
really
they
are.
kick stuff off
They're
and
their
the
intros to
cinematic
their
production.
videos. Their
Yeah.
cinematic production is next level. Like
Yeah.
there's
Their whole
very
team is
few things.
amazing.
That's like they got like a 6 or 7 person team now, right?
Something
It's
like that now.
it's getting
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
big, but
Yep.
their production value is truly something to behold. There's very very few YouTube channels that I can think of off the top of my head that are starting to that can even rival them. Obviously Haggerty
Okay.
being one of them with what Jason Camisa does, of
Look at
course.
Haverty's budget, right?
Haggerty's budget is next level, obviously.
Yeah.
And then even when before Henry came over and is now because now he's doing Haggerty, but on the UK, he's Camisa, but in the UK now, basically. But when it was what was the channel that he was working with like up until a few years ago? That was the UK one that we all loved. Um, it'll probably come
Who's
back to me. It was like
who's
Henry Catchbull did the YouTube channel where he was working with. It'll come back to me. I'm sure it will, but it kind of
uh,
it was and I think they had funding from like CBS, um, and whatnot. I was subscribed to it for a very long time, and it's pissing me off that I cannot remember. Perfection. That's what it was.
oh,
Yeah,
that was
is that right?
CNET.
Yes,
CNET. Yeah, yeah,
CNET,
yeah, yeah. I
CNET.
remember seeing
Excuse
some of
me,
the.
I've said CBS. I meant to say I
Yeah,
knew that
yeah.
it was like a genuine like
Oh,
broadcasting company.
they're donezo. They haven't posted in 2 years.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So now he's kind of like now he's doing Haggerty, but on the UK end
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything like that. And it's crazy, like the production value on it and whatnot. And Throttle House rivals them. It's amazing, and their storytelling. And but the most important thing is, as you said, that their intros. Like one of them came by on my Instagram channel earlier today, and it's Thomas asking James. He's like, "You said you were going to buy an electric," and
That
James
pops
was
up on
like,
mine too.
yeah. And he's like, yep. And he's like, and then instead you imported a 30-year-old Japanese V12 land
Yeah.
yacht. And he's like, yep. And then he looks at him, he's like, cool.
Yes.
It's so
I
good.
approve.
I
Yeah,
approve.
yeah.
So do we, Thomas. So do we. It's so good. Um, I gotta ask you, brother. So you've been back home for a couple of days. You were just at Car Week for. Were you there for what? For like 4 or 5 days?
Well, my wife and I went to San Francisco and then Napa for 4 days beforehand for a little vacation, and then it
Oh, gotcha.
was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yeah, 6 days, and we flew back on
Awesome.
Monday
Smart
evening.
man. You took her to Napa and San Fran knowing that she was going to have heavy
Lots of
car
cars.
overload for 4 days. It's like, hey, listen, I'm
That
going
was
to
on
treat
purpose.
you.
That was strategic.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's, my man is learning. That's what I'm talking about, brother. And so you guys did that. You obviously had the ZR1 on loan from Chevy, which what must have been amazing. You posted up a reel, I think yesterday or the day before, where you went ahead and you did full revs with the ZR1, and then you did revs with what I believe was your personal
Mine.
Z06.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, forgive me if I'm confused, but I don't believe I am. Your Z06's stock is essentially excuse me, the exhaust is essentially stock, right?
Yeah. The only
Yeah.
thing powertrain wise was an Venturi intake on it,
Okay.
but like the actual exhaust system is 100% stock.
Okay, fantastic. So my buddy Ron, who is of course a GM engineer and everything, sends that to me, and he sends me your reel in particular, and I was like, oh, excellent. Eddie's going to be on this tomorrow, so we're going to chat about it. And the one thing, first of all, the Z06 by a smidge sounds better
Yeah.
because especially from I'd probably say from like 7 grand to Redline, there's
Yep.
a specific howl that it's
Yep.
like, oh dear God in the heavens, that sounds so delicious. And the ZR1 sounds really good too, but I can't help but think, and I messaged him this and I bring it up to you now. Boy, howdy, do I want more turbo noise. Because it's almost you can't hear any. And now, to be fair to Ron said that you could hear the turbo noise in the cabin, but in
Oh
the
yeah.
outside, you can't hear it at all. I
Mm-mm.
want to hear it on the outside too, personally. What are your thoughts?
You hear it a lot. So the one I drove was a hardtop convertible. So when you
Okay.
put the little, like I put the top down a little bit, but also the rear window down, you can hear it a lot in the cabin. The
Oh, you
the
can? Okay.
the whistling boost noise, you definitely hear that. It's not as pronounced as some other things out there. So like if you're saying you want even more, something that stands out to me is the Lotus Emira AMG, the 2-liter AMG,
Mm-hmm.
sounds almost aftermarket. The amount of like blow off valve, fluttery boost noises out of the 2-liter Emira, I was like, what the heck? The ZR1 has it, but it's just still so dominated by the sound just of the actual like the
V8.
combustion V8
Sure.
noise,
Which
right?
is a great
Um,
sound.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
maybe I'd say 15 to 20% muffled compared to the Z06, which is actually pretty good given the size of those freaking turbos
Turbos.
on it. But when you're driving it, I was surprised how much of the Z06 sound and kind of emotion they were able to preserve while at the same time layering on a little bit of that boost noise. It has all the
Yeah.
angry pops and snaps and stuff like that. Like it still was pretty good. And like when you're at full throttle running from 5 to 7 to whatever RPM, eight red lines 8,000 on that thing,
Yeah.
like it is so fast. You're not really worried about that. And when you go actual watt, like wide open throttle, the volume of air being pushed back there, it
Mm-hmm.
makes some stupid noise. And
Right.
it's pretty ballistic. So yeah, not quite as good sounding, but also ridiculous. Like Pista versus the 458. Yeah, the 458 is more pure and sings
Yeah.
naturally aspirated, but the Pista is ridiculous
I
too.
think the Pista doesn't the piece the just the 488 in general to me is not something that we give too much love to and whatnot because of what the 458 is and everything. And to be fair, I get that. I mean, I for one love a 458. I think they're incredible. I mean, I'm a stickler for a 458 Spider. Give it to me in black. Like I'd be like, yeah, man, that's a spec right there. But the 488s and even the F8 F8 is even more a little bit toned down than
Yeah.
the 488 is and whatnot. But I've really come around on F8s over the last couple of years. Like I'm like, yeah, that's kind of a banger of a car if we're really honest with one another. But
Yeah.
ZR1 still sounds absolutely incredible. And I believe and for people who are listening who might not know, the ZR1 and the Z06, unlike the 4-liter twin turbo in the AMG GTR and an AMG GT Black Series, where in the Black Series it's flat plane and in the GTR it's cross plane. The ZR1 and the Z06 do have the exact same flat plane and engine, except with the twin turbos. Am I right in that, or is it cross plane the
No,
ZR1?
they're both flat plane. They're not
Yeah.
exactly the same though. So yeah, you
Okay.
identified it right. Like Ford, when they went from the Shelby Voodoo, the 5.2 flat plane, when they put boost on them, went to cross plane for durability. That's what they
Right
said,
for the
right? So the
for the GT
GT500,
500.
GTD is a 5.2 cross plane. Z06 and ZR1 are both flat plane, but there's pretty extensive differences. They were making it very clear that it's not just an LT6 with turbo slapped on it, right? So
Right.
the crank gets honed differently. It's got obviously different manifold. The pistons change, combustion chamber changes. There's a lot of mechanical changes in order to allow for that engine to handle the power and boost.
Right.
Transmission has been beefed up, but the actual engine itself is pretty extensively modified.
Reworked. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not again very much not an LT6 with turbo slapped on it. Like it's got dual DIPFI, so it's got the direct injectors as regular, but they have additional port fuel injectors for even more fuel. Um, the valve train, I believe, was changed. There's a lot that got redesigned on it. They call them the Gemini twins, where they're both developed concurrently. And while
Hmm.
they share displacement, flat plane crank V8s, there's actually a lot of fundamental differences between those two engines.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's I remember when they announced the ZR1, it was October of last year is when they officially made the announcement that it was coming. We all knew it was coming, but Chevy
Yep.
was like, October 2024, we are here to let you know. You have been right this entire time. ZR1 is here and it's coming and whatnot. And I remember people saying, because we made a huge deal of the size of the turbos. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the biggest turbos you can get on a production car in ever.
76 millimeters are
Which is
huge.
which is nuts, man. That's
Yeah.
nuts. And but then they only, I say only, Edward, produce 1100 and excuse me, no, 1030, is it 1036 and
1064.
1064, and then obviously 1100 plus in ZR1X or whatever it is. Or
The
yeah,
engine
right?
is the same between Zero One Zero and X. Zero One X makes 1250 because the E motor from
1250.
E-Ray boosts up the power
Boost it
output.
up.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
And they cranked up the turbos just a little bit, but I remember people saying
No, no, power, the engine's the
Is,
same.
is it's
Zero One
still the
engine
exact
stays
same?
the same.
Okay, I apologize.
1064 out of it. Yeah, you're good. You're
It's
good. Yeah.
just the hybrid system. Okay,
Yeah.
my bad. But I remember people saying when they announced that the ZR1 was going to have the biggest turbos ever put into a production car, and it was only making the 1064. I love comments from people because sometimes it just proves you can't ever make people happy. But they were like, ha ha ha, the biggest turbos a production car's ever made, and it still makes less than the Koenigsegg Jesko.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and compare a near $200,000 Corvette and compare that to a $2.5 to $3 million Jesco, because
Yeah.
that's a thing to do. And yet, somehow, some way, and I say this as nicely as possible because Christian Van Koenigsegg is an absolute G. We
Yes.
all love him. He is the Gordon Murray of our time. And I say that knowing that we still have Gordon Murray with
Yeah.
us. But like, you gotta realize that even Christian Van Koenigsegg is looking at Chevrolet and being like, damn, 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 damn. You did
Yeah.
that. You give us this package for 200 G's. High five, General. Like, that he's respecting it. Yet somehow, some way, there's so much division between those who love a hypercar and those who happen to love performance products that are on the lesser expensive. Like, it's the same thing that we had going on with GTD. It's like the people focused on, oh, it's a $300,000 to $400,000 Mustang. It's like, well, it's not just a Mustang, guys. It's a Multimatic, and they put the Mustang body on it. That's an entirely different thing. And you as a YouTuber and someone who creates this content, who tries to go ahead and do reviews on these things, you're never going to be able to go ahead and make a person happy. But how do you try and present it to somebody and be like, hey, listen, guys, not only is this amazing and we're really living in kind of a golden age at this moment in time, but not even winning them over per se, Eddie, but how do you just try and like hammer it in as a presenter and being like, this is truly unbelievably special, people?
Yeah, it's to me, it's like an educational kind of thing to try to break it
Mhm.
down into an understandable thing because people look at the numbers and compare specs. That's the internet.
That's what
Compare
we do.
specs,
Yeah.
right? Keyboard warriors looking at specs. But try from
Keyboard
my
warriors that
perspective,
will never drive the car, mind you. But
yeah. But trying to sit there and like break it down and impart upon the significance of an OEM developing it. I think people don't quite realize the difference between OEM, aftermarket, and these really bespoke low volume hypercar manufacturers. I would argue those manufacturers live closer to the aftermarket space than an OEM. An OEM has so many restrictions, regulations, rules to follow. They have to essentially mass market produce these vehicles, durability testing. End of the day, a ZR1 is a production Corvette, which is a production Chevrolet, which is subject to all these different things. Even like something as silly and trivial as like waterfording, like they have to go through all of these different tests and have all these redundant durability systems. They have a safety factor built in. OEMs have an engineered safety factor. So if something is like, if let's just theoretically a shaft has
Mhm.
this diameter as what would be the prescribed standard, like it can handle it, it's totally fine. Well, maybe the safety factor says they need to make it 50% larger, just so it has that durability and that safety thing in mind of like protecting components. Whereas other applications, they can push them to the ragged edge. Some of these cars could be the Koenigsegg's, could be the ragged edge. They don't have as many concessions to mass producing and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, for an OEM to go ahead and put something like that into production, a car that's sold within warranty that you should theoretically be able to take to your dealership to get serviced and just drive and do whatever with, and you can give your wife and she can go to Costco. Now you don't need to worry about that, right? Trying to explain that kind of like how I said it here. And same thing with like the GTD, trying to like do a deep, I did a deep dive video with my friend, the owner, Dave. And it's like, well, here are all the cool things. This is all bespoke, the carbon fiber, the various components, looking under the skin at the suspension in the back, talking about how that's unique and differentiated and what else Multimatic does. Multimatic did the Ford GT, they did the GTD. Well, they also did the Valkyrie, the AMG Project One, and the Ferrari F80. Those are some pretty prestigious cars, right?
Yep.
So the GTD has more in relationship to one of those than it does a Mustang EcoBoost, you could argue. But yeah, it is challenging. At a certain point, you have to just be like, I'm not going to convince these people.
Right.
Like nobody is going to be like, oh yeah, 400,000 on the Mustang. That makes total sense. To an extent, yeah, you get it. It makes sense. It is diminishing returns. Like,
Hmm.
okay, it's 1.2 seconds faster than blah around the 7 mile track and the wherever. But like, okay, like we're in this crazy echelon, and it's just cool nerding out, and like you said, being an enthusiast during this era is fantastic. But you can only do so much, and I hope to try to explain some things in a more understandable,
Sure.
approachable way to realize what it's like to develop a car like this for an OEM versus the very bespoke niche hypercar stuff. Which is why it's also kind of piggyback off of that. It's cool when VW Group with Bugatti
Yes, you
and
read my mind.
Porsche
You
when they get into it. Like the really
Lamborghini.
low volume. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The really low volume guys come with their own headaches. I have spent time with a Koenigsegg, and one of the times I got to it, there was the screen was not turning on, and I'm like, I can't adjust my seat. Like I can't adjust my mirrors. And the owner of that car had it set to his settings. He's a lot shorter than me. I'm like, what do I do? I got for fun. I Googled it. I'm like, Koenigsegg Regera reset. And like, there was nothing. There's no forum. There's no thing. I'm just like, crap. So I'm like calling friends. It's like 7 in the morning. I'm like, who is awake? Who has a Koenigsegg? I can
It's like,
ask
wait, I literally
any.
have to call Shmi and he's on the other side of the friggin' world. Yo, Tim,
But
how do you reset
it's
the seat on a Koenigsegg, bro?
yeah, and I'm just like, what do I do? Whereas when you get into the larger volume OEMs, yeah, they still might have some of their own hiccups, but it's
Right,
still larger production things. I've met some people who are like, I'm only buying a hypercar again from like a major OEM. So whether
right.
Bugatti or Mercedes or whoever the heck, right? So it's a crazy, crazy world.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're living in a crazy time. It's an unbelievable time to be an automotive enthusiast, and I'm here for it. Even if you don't like, some of the things that they're going for and whatnot. At the end of the day, it's like, wow, man, it's just a crazy, crazy time. I don't think we're ever going to go ahead and get anything like this in 25, 30 years time. I don't I who knows, maybe I'm wrong. I low key, no, actually no, I high key hope that I'm wrong. I want it to continue, like, keep pushing the envelope of what you can. But I think we just need to appreciate what's going on around us and everything. Like some of the stuff that was presented at the Quail, I'm going to go ahead and I want to bring that up to you in just a second. But let's do as good of a deep dive as you're willing to go through. Because obviously I know your video is either already up or very much
I gotta
very
edit
soon to
it.
come. Got to edit
Yeah.
it. So I think that even still, I think our podcast will probably still come out after yours. So
Okay.
if you want to kind of give me, you drove ZR1 in Carmel and Monterey, bro. How was it?
Oh, the ZR1 video's up. Quail video's not up yet. The
Oh,
ZR1
cool.
review
Gotcha.
is up. ZR1 was, as expected, ballistic. The anything with 1,000 horsepower rear-wheel drive is going to be pretty crazy, right?
Would you say
And
it's the fastest production car you've ever driven, Eddie?
no,
What's the
I
fastest?
fastest term. Wait, well,
Or,
fastest usually top
most
speed or
powerful? Most
quickest.
powerful, excuse me.
Most powerful, I've driven Codex Regera. I guess this is more powerful than P1. Bugatti Veyron somewhere. I
Okay.
guess it's up there. Yeah,
It's up
100%
there.
is up there, right?
Yeah.
But like a 765 LT is also just stupid fast, right?
Bro, I
918
drove a
Spiders are pretty.
720 and
Yeah.
I definitely was like reevaluating my life choices in the sense of like, where did I go wrong to not be able to go ahead and at least lease one of these? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
They're crazy. So I've gotten to drive, I mean, 1,400 wheel horsepower twin turbo R8. Like I've driven some
That's nuts.
really high horsepower cars, but what the ZR1 does is it's very approachable and civilized. And the engineers are always saying that you'll be shocked how drivable this car is. I'm like, yeah, cool. You're just saying that for 1,000 horsepower car. Like it's still gonna be like, holy crap. It's not actually, which is a testament to their traction control, their boost by gear, their torque limiters, and it's very like a smooth transition. There are some cars that we already mentioned, like
Mhm.
Pista 765 LT, the McLaren P1. When you have that much power rear-wheel drive, if you're not careful, it might kill you. It feels that way. It's
Right.
like if you, especially as you dial up the traction modes and you're letting it a little bit more loose and you get on it in first, second gear, like I've gotten wheel spin at 70 miles an hour before. I'm like, ah, and if you're not careful, it feels like it's gonna loop you, and you
Hmm.
got to be on it. Sierra 1 was shockingly civilized. I mean, I went to P again, I didn't push it crazy hard. I mean, mountain roads, not my car. Like you
Too
always
much
have to be
traffic at Car Week too.
exactly
Yeah.
right. And we ended up going way south from Big Sur. So I did get some open stretches where I really got to get on it. And trust me, I had my fun with that car until my wife started to feel motion sickness. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll let off. But you can, I mean, I dialed up the PTM dry. Didn't go into any of the race modes. But
Mhm.
like, I mean, I got wheel spin a handful of times launching it, and like first gear is like a little bit of hesitation. You can tell it's really cutting power, fighting for
Yeah.
traction, upshifts in a second. You kind of still feel it. Once you get in a third, you're rolling at fast speed, and it's like then you're like, oh, here's full boost and power, and I'm accelerating harder than I was when I was in first gear.
Yeah.
It's one of those cars, but it just was very civilized. I mean, I got in, and I mean, I'm very familiar with the platform too, having owned my Z06 for 3 years now. But I got in, went did a pull or two, ratcheted up through the modes, went from sport to race, and then fiddled around a little bit more. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go fast now, and it's so fast, it's so easy to drive, and it's the torque. You hit 800 pound-feet at like 3,000 RPM, and it just is just continuation.
Wow.
It just goes. So whatever gear you're in, you got get on, and you're like, okay, we're going, and it's yeah, it
Yeah.
was wild. It was
That's
wild.
freaking crazy. You know, I always hear Matt and Zach talk about like the McLarens in particular, and I've got a chance to experience, and they talk about like boost by gear,
Yeah.
right? And you mentioned it right now. It's like the higher I'm going up in the gears, the harder it's kicking every time, which is not very. It's not
Mhm.
something that happens very often in a lot of these cars, in particular if you have something that's naturally aspirated. Like so, when you get a turbocharged like that and it's kicking you even harder in fourth and you're like, oh my god, I'm going to die, and everything. And so like, and to note that you're already kicking it at about 800 foot-pounds of torque at 3,000 rpm, which I mean, listen dude, let me tell you something right now. There is nothing, and I haven't gotten a chance to experience this, so I'm putting it out there to the ether right now. Anybody with a Mark IV Supra making over 1,000 horsepower, if you want to go ahead and let me take a rip in that and feel those turbos come in at like 4 to 4,500 and absolutely crap my pants, I'm ready for that. I'll go ahead and buy myself adult diapers. I don't care. And so, but to note that you almost get that in a ZR1, well, actually, you do get that, but like 1,000 RPM sooner. And again, with a warranty. That's what it's like, guys. Like, can we just take away for 1 second that it's not a hyper? Can we just appreciate the fact that you have a what is it, a 4 to 5 year powertrain warranty on this sucker from General Motors. That's crazy to me. Like, that's what a great time to be an enthusiast. Like, that's wild.
Yeah. The other big thing is it's also not a one-trick pony. There's a lot of cars that go really fast in a straight line, but this is the
Sure.
car that is able to handle. The chassis is dialed in. It's got magnetic ride, it's got aero, it's got brakes, it's got the tires, and like it's at the Nürburgring lap record for an American car, right? And you're up there with some other cars. Yeah, people are gonna go on about Porsche and okay, it's half the power and it's still faster than a
It's
zero,
also
whatever. Yeah, yeah,
200
yeah.
grand more. It's also 200 grand
True,
more.
true. At MSRP, the ZR1 is unbeatable, but also the Nürburgring is Porsche's backyard. I mean,
That's
it's
exactly
their
the other
home.
thing.
It's a lot to get an
They
American
develop it
OEM,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
to ship out there. So if you look I looked at some of the other lap records. I mean, there's like VIR and Road America here. The ZR1 is like a lot faster than some of those European
Way
cars
faster.
yeah, like
Probably like five
way.
seconds
Yeah, I'm
at
pretty sure
least.
it beat the 3RS by like 5 seconds on one track, and it beat a Senna by 2 seconds on another one on another track, right? So
Yeah, it's
like
wild.
it can turn. I had somebody comment and go, "Oh, the Plaid's still faster." I'm like, nobody who cares about cars cares the fact that the Plaid is faster in a straight line because you
Yes.
can't turn, you can't brake. Like
Yep.
it's not the ZR. You get focused on those numbers, but that's why my video is talking about like the drivability, the approachability. Like you can go through these turns and then get on it, and like
Yeah.
it's livable, it's usable. It's not just going a straight line. Dodge Demon. People keep talking, oh, the Demon 170 quarter mile. Yeah, that was built for one specific thing.
Yes.
Literally one thing and one thing only. Zero One can do a bit of everything. So
Yeah.
that's what I
It,
love about it.
it's such a special car. It's truly, I think, when it's all said and done, whenever C9 ends up coming and whatnot, and everything, we're gonna look back in the same way that we look back at C7 ZR1s, in the same way that we look back at the C6 ZR1s and Z06s, or one of my personal favorite Corvettes is the C6 427, which is the
Hmm.
Z06 engine but no top on it. Like, I love that car, especially I
Hmm.
think it's the Centennial Edition, which was the
Hmm.
white with the silver stripe on it. That
Oh yeah,
car
yeah,
is so
yeah,
gangster and
yeah.
everything like that. We're gonna remember C8 ZR1 and the X and Z06, as well as cars that it's like they were truly that like Chevrolet has had this great reputation, at least to me, over the last 30 years, that they continue to kick it up another level in the same way Porsche has. Because you go back all the way to like 993, or even if you want to go back to 964, and it's this constant, it's not a revolution, it's an evolution of this respective car. And so Chevy has been doing the same thing with the Corvette for 30 plus years now. If you go back all the way to C5, or if you really want to go back to C4 with their first ZR1, and it's a really special trajectory that they've continued to go ahead and like show us. It's like, hey guys, you guys always say that American cars can't turn, they can't brake, they can't do this, they can't do that. We've literally been showing you that for the past 30 years, the opposite of what you're claiming that you're saying that we cannot do. There's
Yeah,
a
that
reason.
reputation is so interesting because, like, even you rewind before Corvette went mid-engine, Viper, like the Dodge
Viper,
Viper Gen 5 ACR was a track beast, just like pure mechanical grip and capability. Even Gen 4 ACRs were more of a handful, but like a Gen
sure.
5 Viper
Or
could
Gen
hang
3
with the.
Vipers that won at Le Mans with Justin Bell and those guys.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
Like
crazy.
like Americans have been able to do it. It's just this weird like reputation that American cars got, which some aspects are merited, right? Like some vehicles come out, you're like, oh, that's not gonna that's just an American luxury barge or just not like yeah. But like the Hellcats, all the Hellcats, they can handle okay, but they're just really fast burnout machines.
Sure.
Like
But you know
they
what,
weren't
dude?
designed.
But second gen CTSVs proved that
Oh, yeah.
this is going to piss off a lot of BMW owners that I know and love. And by the way, I'm a huge BMW guy, and M2 CS needs to go ahead and hit my garage like ASAP, and whatnot. But like, let's be honest, man. Second gen CTSV Cadillacs are, for lack of a better term, amazing. Amazing. And so
Mhm.
are the third gens. And now currently with CT5V Blackwing, like
Oh,
CT5V Blackwing
I
might be
want
the best
one.
four-door sports car on the planet, bro.
Well, right now, absolutely, yeah. Like the thing is, the CT4 Blackwing is already so good.
It
Like every
is.
time I drive one, I'm like, oh, this thing is just it handles so
But the
well. Look,
V8, dude, you gotta
exactly.
go
And
with
I'm
the
like, this is
V8.
all I need. And then it's like, oh, but supercharged V8. I'm like, ah. I want whenever if they actually, they said they were going to end combustion V series with
I
this
really hope they
generation.
don't. I
If
really hope they don't.
they, yeah, and maybe they'll backtrack it. Regardless, whatever happens, the end of the run, if there's any special edition ones of these Blackwings, I would love to have one. I have no need for a manual rear-wheel drive supercharged sedan, but I want one. It's
Of
such a good
course.
car. And the
It's
new
so
Cured by
nice.
Cadillac program, they had one on display at Pebble,
Yeah.
and it was a matte like cranberry red with a red interior and all the carbon. I'm like, oh, to be able to paint it like a special color. Yeah, it's expensive. Everyone's like, oh, 158 grand, that's stupid. And I'm like,
It's
I
still, you know
guess.
what? It's still less expensive than a G90 M5.
Yeah.
And it's
I
and it's better than a G90 M5.
It does it drive. I mean, it's 1,500 pounds less. So and I
Yeah.
spent time
And
with
it
it. I
sounds
have an
better.
M5 touring. Yes, it does. I have an M5 touring coming up. I'm interested to see what that's like to live with. The regular
Oh,
one was a
very.
good daily, but it
Yeah.
was just like this. It was, yeah, you could feel the weight. It was so fast though, but you could feel the
Yeah.
weight.
You know what? That would be really interesting to go ahead and like drive in the winters of Detroit with the all-wheel drive. That could actually, I
Yeah.
wonder if it would work better than if you were to like live with it here in Arizona or live with it in Southern California. Because the all-wheel drive, like to me, BMW choosing to go ahead and put all-wheel drive in an M5 and an M3 as well, it's like I get it in terms of acceleration and whatnot, but like I do feel that, yeah, and thankfully you can go ahead and turn off the front wheel drive system and only have it rear wheel, and that's fantastic and whatnot. But I do feel that it was putting additional weight on a car that does not need it. I mean, a G80 M3 and M4 right now, we're well over 4,000
Or
pounds at this
yeah.
point. And then you look at an M5, a G90 M5 is 5,600 pounds. An RS6 is 900 pounds lighter than that, Eddie. Like, what the heck are we doing,
No,
bro?
not quite. I mean, yeah, they're on five. Everything is heavy now, dude.
Yeah.
Everything is so heavy. The problem with the M5 was I found it peak irony that you still paid a gas guzzler tax. So it's a
I
plug-in hybrid now. You're like, oh, plug-in hybrid. But what the
didn't
problem
even
is
know that. That's crazy.
when the battery pack depletes, you're lugging around like an extra 700 pounds.
For
So
no
now it's just
reason.
that twin turbo V8 without the hybrid battery doing anything. And I was getting like 12 mpg. I'm just like,
Uh,
what? I mean, it's this trade-off they're all battling right now. They're all
uh,
fighting that. I mean, up to including the supercar manufacturers, right?
sure.
Lamborghini, I mean, Ferrari, they've got hybrid systems in these cars now because part of it is, yes, for performance, ultimate performance, yeah, but
Yeah,
also they need this like EV creep mode to get around town, in the
sure.
city centers and things like that. The ones that are doing it well have tiny battery packs like the E-Ray, even the Revuelto, right? It's like a 1 to 3 kilowatt
Yeah.
hour battery
The new
pack.
Carrera
So
GTS as well, of course, the
the T
992.
the hybrid, the T I
Yeah.
need to drive one of those, the T hybrid, yeah. So it's definitely interesting, but the M5, one of my friends was like, you should have called it the M7. I'm like, yeah, it does kind of feel like that.
I that you're not the first person to have said that actually. I
Yeah.
heard who was it? It was I think it was Kamisa said it. Kamisa,
Oh, really?
yeah, I think he said they should have called this an M7. And I was like, oh shit. I
When you think
did,
about it that way,
yeah.
the thing is,
It starts to make a lot more sense.
a lot of my friends who are ordering them were just like, they're still gonna take it. They have a Black Series or a LT McLaren or a Ferrari or Porsche GT car in the garage,
Yeah.
so they have a really fun, fast, nimble toy, and they're just wanted a fast daily driver.
Mm.
Um, but there are actually now that I say that, now that people have gotten taken delivery of them, there are a handful who actually were like, actually, this is not for me, and they got rid of them pretty quickly.
Sure.
Yeah, and I had one friend who got rid of it because he had an RS6, and he got rid of the M5 very quickly, and he's going to do an
Yeah.
M2 CS instead. I'm like, so it wasn't
I
for
think
him.
that's the better move. I think they really I personally think that the way that G87 M2 CS looks compared to the first iterations of G87 M2 and M2 comp is so much better because they leveled up the aggression even more
There's no
so.
M2 comp though.
Oh, there's not?
No,
Is it just
I was
regular
just
M2?
yeah, I just drove an
Oh,
LCI one. I had it for a week. I had a Java Green one. It's just an M2. They refreshed it. There's no comp. It just goes from M2 to now CS, which I think is really strange.
very strange. I apologize. That is the first. I didn't realize that. Obviously, in F87 they went with comp and everything.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
wow, I never even thought about that. That to me that's an even worse mistake. So you made
It's
the M2.
weird.
Yeah, well, they
It's
made the
weird.
G87 already like because it's fine, but like listen, dude, F87 regular M2 and M2 comps are genuinely great BMWs. Like I mean, the M2 CS is up there with probably like in the top 5 best BMWs they've ever made,
Yeah,
right? You know, you
yeah.
you put it up there with the G90 M5 CS, or excuse me, the F90 F5 CS. You think of an E46, you think of the like a fantastic
E92,
E92, you know,
E39, yeah, M5.
39,
Yeah.
to a lesser extent, F80, F82s are fantastic, especially if you get a comp or a CS. Like they're up there. And to have made the G87 the way that they made it, which I think the weight difference between that and a G80 was not that vast. Like
It's like
it
two, three
really
hundred
wasn't,
pounds.
which is
Yeah.
way too little for how small a car the G87 is compared to the G80s.
Well, they share a platform now. That's why, the structure wise. So now
Yeah.
all this modular stuff, which is why it's gotten so much bigger and heavier. Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah.
kind of defeated the whole purpose. So now
Yeah.
that they've gone ahead and done all these things with the CS, it's like, okay, the way that the CS now is, I wish they would have gone ahead and made what the G87 was from the very get go. But it is what it is. We're not going to get a manual. That is what it is too, I guess. And then on top of that, it's 100G starting, which is like, damn, where have we gotten to? Like, have we lost the plot? Are people going to pay that? Yes, yes, they are. Should they? I don't know. That's a lot of money to be asking for an M2. That's a ton of money to be asking for an M2.
Car prices are completely out of whack, dude.
Dude,
They've lost reality. You know what? 992.2 GT3 is $300,000 now.
yep. It's 50 grand
What?
more than 992.1. Makes no
Well, I
sense.
think I think what Porsche
It
realized was
does.
like you sell a 992 GT3, you're either giving the buyer a $50,000 check or the dealership a $50,000 check because market price for those is 50 grand more than MSRP. So
Every
either
time.
dealer's charging markup or the guy who bought is flipping it. So Porsche was probably like, why are we giving away all this margin? The market can clearly bear an extra 50 grand. Well, let's just up the price. Rolex same way, right? You sell a
Yeah.
Daytona. It's just essentially giving somebody a check. Any of these things that are like hard to get, right?
Yep.
Like to be honest, I was trying to get in on that game with Ferrari. I was given a
Okay.
spot. I was given a 296 like waitlist spot. And I was like, man,
Okay.
why not? Because like from what I understood, you would buy a Ferrari, drive it for 6 months, put limited miles on it, and you could sell it back and they would turn around and sell it for more because they were going for more than MSRP. You couldn't get the flagship mid-engine V8 Ferraris
Hmm.
or any of them, really, right? You can walk in and buy yourself a California T, but you're not going to order yourself the 48. So I was like, oh, why not? Well, it's not that way anymore because those prices have also gone up and the market is not doing it anymore. But yeah, car
Yep.
prices overall are just like, dude, I get these press cars sometimes and I get the window sticker and I'm just like, huh? It's kind of crazy.
The window stickers got out of control, but then the ADM got even more so out of control. Because I remember, like, you know, Revuelto. Let's use Revuelto for a perfect example. When it got announced, they were like, "We're looking at an MSRP of like 600 grand," and I'm like, "Yo." I remember when Aventador came out and you guys were like charging 420. And I remember when
Yeah.
Mercy first came out, and granted that was in 2001, but let's just use it. I get it, inflation, but like
Yeah.
at the time you could get a Mercy MSRP. I think it started at like 190, and you were maybe at the end of it, maybe paying like 230, 240 or something like that. Aventador, you could get it at very high 300s. You could do the same thing with F12. Like F12 came out, and you were like, damn, we're starting at like 310. 812 comes out, we're like starting at four. And so
I have
that's
a
just
friend.
MSRP. Yeah.
I have a friend with a 12 Cylindri that's built to like high sixes, like 680, almost 700. And I was like looking
That's
at that, and I'm just
wild.
like, what? He's got lots of options on it, but I'm just like, what? Like, what?
12 paying 700 on a 12 cylindry is, oh my
A lot of
god.
them, dude. Some Parasangways are getting up to crazy prices.
Oh,
296s are, yeah,
well, so that was bringing me to my point was the first Revuelto that came and hit the United States, hit a dealer, and ADM had that car at 999 999. And I was like, you might as well. Why it's okay, it's the only Revuelto that's under a million in the world. It's like, yo, man, at that rate, just freaking, you're gonna pay well over a million with tax anyways. You might as well just go ahead and put it in the millions. But that was the thing. I was like, ADM is 400 grand on a Revuelto.
yeah.
Like, imagine whatever is going to be the like phenomenal obviously just got announced, and obviously that's what part of the few off program with
Few off, yeah,
Lambo.
they're all sold out.
Yeah, they're all sold out. It looks very cool, and whatnot. But like whenever they decide to like SVJ or SV the Revuelto, it's like, So what's going to be MSRP on that thing? And then what's going to be the ADM on the MSRP on that? Like,
Yeah.
that's where it's like, holy hell, dude. We have gotten to a level of like, I don't even know, bro. I don't even know at this point. It's kind of wild.
ADM is kind of interesting because it's like it's a free market
Mm-hmm.
and something is worth as much as someone is willing to pay. And
Sure.
if you can command that price for something and there are people who are lining up to buy it for that price or maybe even a little bit less, that's their prerogative. So like it can be negatively viewed, obviously. You can say it's greed or whatever, but it just like that's the free market technically,
Sure.
which
And
which
the fact
which
that people are willing to
sucks.
pay it.
Yeah, absolutely. ZR1. I mean, if I had one in my hands right now and somebody's willing to pay me 400 grand for one, like I wouldn't be angry about making money on the car.
Yeah.
Like when I got my Z06, I have a super early one. I could have sold it for probably 50 to 100K over. I was never going to do that because it would ruin like it's just not the right thing to do.
Right.
But that they were flipping for that. There's a ZR1 that actually sold, I think, at Mannheim for 400, like a gray one, and it's at a dealer
Oof.
now. So like,
Oof.
yeah, it's the three RSs, right? I mean, they go for
Mhm.
silly money.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's definitely a very interesting thing. The OEMs have tried different ways of like battling it. Like
Yeah.
99
Ford did the same thing with the GT back in 2016.
GT,
Yeah.
the 911 ST was
Hmm.
a like a lease only thing unless you were a VIP customer from what I understood.
Yes.
LFA did the same thing, it was like a lease only kind of thing. GM obviously did their thing. They had the carrot and the stick, right? You sell it no warranty, you keep it, you
Yeah.
get points. I don't think they're doing it anymore, but
Right.
I got 500,000 like General Motors loyalty points for keeping mine, which I've used for all of my oil changes, and I bought an extended warranty with it. So thank you very
Let's
much,
go,
Chevrolet.
Eddie.
Exactly. I've got a warranty till like 2032 on my car using the points for keeping the
And by the way,
car. So
how
I'm
many
like,
miles you
cool.
got on the Z06 right now?
Like 6,500.
That oh dude, you're set basically.
Uh,
You're set for the next you're set
oh yeah.
for a while,
I was
dude.
like, I'm keeping this car. It's paid off. I love it. It's
Yeah.
such an early build. Like it's all mine. I am just gonna extend the warranty and I have to keep her. So,
Oh, I love it,
um,
dude. I love
yeah.
it. Yeah, no, you're right. It's dependent on what people are willing to pay for it and everything like that. So yeah, which then it probably pisses off the OEMs. It's like, damn it, we should have gone ahead and cranked up the MSRP even more so. It's like, yeah, but then you have a really expensive ass car that you're trying to sell to the public, and it's like, I don't know.
See,
It's
that's like
a
the GTD probably has not had any markup. Well, one, it was like a direct allocation kind of thing through the applications, so everybody was getting it direct. But I haven't heard of dealers tacking on GTD markup
neither have
because
I.
it's already so expensive. And I
Yes.
know there's some people who likely backed out of GTDs, especially tariffs or whatever. They see the options pricing, they're like,
Yep.
"Oh, it's 300. Oh my God, it's 500 now. It's a big difference, right?" So if Corvette had come out and just been like, "All right, the zero one's 400 grand, guys," would everybody have been, oh my God, that's so much money, this is stupid. But then there might not have been any ADM because like
Mhm.
that you're truly at the market, like tip top saturation or like the top price that it can possibly bear.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to like compare how those things kind of been pricing
Yeah.
out.
And dude, I was listening to TST like a couple months ago, and there was somebody that went full on crazy on a GTD build, and they got it up to like 600 grand, like with paint, with options. And I was like, I didn't even know you could spend 600 G's on a GTD. Are we serious right now? Like, and I
It
was
has to
blown away.
be
It was probably like
paint.
crazy paint, is what I was
Because
assuming.
even if you do custom paint carbon and like check all the boxes of the titanium package and everything, I thought they were maxing out like just around 500. So unless they did something crazy for paint, because
Yeah.
you can pay to lock out a paint spec too. You
Yeah.
can paint like I want to paint my car, what's it called? Rapid Blue, right? And
Hmm.
then nobody else can do Rapid Blue ever again. You're allowed to
Hmm.
do that on that car. So
Interesting stuff. Well, let's talk
yeah.
about a little about the quail. Well, actually, know what? Before we hit the quail, I gotta ask because you brought up RM Sotheby's earlier in the conversation, and so you probably have an idea of where I'm going with this because I leave my part-time job on Saturday night, Eddie. I get in my car, and as I'm getting in my car, I uh, I see this Instagram story from my friend Samantha Zimmerman. So I hope she's listening. She's a fantastic hyper realism artist. She's a good friend of the podcast. Her husband Michael also works for Sotheby Motorsports. So big shout out to Sotheby's in general, and as is my boy John Paulo Scorzo, go Carissimo. And I see this story, and it's this tailor made. SP3 that they were talking about how, oh, all the funds for this car is all going for charity, because I think it was going for the California wildfires, like kind of foundation and everything like that. Or wait, was it that? Or maybe excuse
I
me,
thought it
maybe
was no. I thought it was Ferrari's own charity.
was it Ferrari's own charity? Oh, you might be
I
right.
thought so.
Okay, my apologies if I misspoke on that. You know what? I think I got it confused with something else. I think you're
Okay.
absolutely right. So I apologize. But so they talk about the thing, and I'm like, okay, this is. I'm hearing the speech, and I'm like, oh, I know where this is potentially to maybe going to lead to. And they start the bidding at what was it, like three or four? It may have been five where they started. Eddie, when because I saw the $26 million, and I was like,
Huh?
holy, holy hell, that is I'm like, yo, man, like, you know what you could get for 26 million? Like, you could buy a 250 GTO, like a beat up one.
There was literally a 250, I think, bidding at Gooding, and they were like
Yeah,
going one at each
which, if
other.
I'm not mistaken, didn't even hit 10. I'm pretty sure it didn't even hit
It
10
did
over
not?
at Gooding. And if it did, okay, it hit 10, and this car still went 16 million more. But so I
No,
see
the
the number.
250 went for 25. So it
Okay.
was a 250 GT California Spider Competizione.
Oh, okay. So then
So
there was,
this
I think,
still beat it.
RM. This still beat it, and I think there was an R at RM. There was also another 250 that I can't remember what 250 it was, but it went for like maybe like six or seven. It's some number like that, which is, by the way, still an insane number. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But I saw the 26 million, and I was like, that's absurd. And so when I get home, I never do this, Eddie. I never do this, but I went to RM Sotheby's live stream on YouTube, and I put it up on my TV, and my wife, it comes out from having put the kids to bed, and she comes around the corner, and she's like, "Hey, what are you watching?" And I'm like, "I'm watching the RM Sotheby's auction." She's like, "That's the most boring shit you could ever put on TV." And I'm like, "I recognize that, but that car is about to go for 26 million, and I want to see how we got there." So I
Yeah, yeah.
click play from when they end the speech, and then they're like, you could already tell that the room was ready to go. Like this, I have never seen an like an auction crowd that crazy. And when they start at four, and Eddie, the numbers were jumping by the millions. Like they went from like 6 to 8 to 9 to like 11 within a 45-second like time frame. And I was like, this is unreal. And then when they hit 20, I was like, if this car sells at 20 million, I'll die right now. Oh no, we're not going to sell it for 20. We still got 6 million more dollars to go. And I was like, they got the 24, and I was like, that's the game. That's got to be the game, right? Guy bids an additional million and a half or 2 million, and I was like, what in tarnations is this world coming to?
So, one, charity. Two, somebody's probably drunk. But charity makes it a write-off, right? Like
Sure.
that's why you see these VIN number one cars. Penske buys all of them, right? Because it's
Yeah,
for charity,
of
good cause, which is
course.
good. But it's a
Hendrick does the
write-off
same
too to
thing at
spend
Barrett
some time.
Jackson. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
exactly. But also, when you realize that if you're a billionaire, multi-billionaire, the difference between 23 million and 26 million is me
Pocket
giving you
change.
$230 or $260. Well, I'm not, if I'm buying, let's just say I'm buying a 118 scale model car, one of my auto art models of one of my
Yeah, yeah,
cars,
yeah.
right? If it's $250 or $350, I'll be like, I want the thing. So if you're worth enough, and so the guys bidding on these cars are, it's just, sure, why not? Sure, why not? Sure, why not, right?
Yeah.
But
But still,
still, but
you
still,
and I, we're
26.
still having this look, because as we're talking about this, it's still, that car really went for 26 mil.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean
I don't know.
Ferrari's ecstatic. RM is,
Yeah,
I mean, it's awesome
they were
publicity,
over
and
the
it
moon,
is
I'm sure.
for charity and things like
Yeah,
that. It's a cool car. I saw it
sure.
at Casa Ferrari. Like it's a cool livery and everything, and it's the plus one.
Yeah.
I don't know how current Daytona owners feel. Daytona owners probably are like annoyed, but also not annoyed because like they're 599, and then Ferrari goes, "Oh, here's one more," and that
Right.
technically like low dilutes their rarity or whatever. But then it goes for 26 million, so like, oh, all of mine went up possibly, right? Because now if you're asking 6 million for a regular SP3, it doesn't seem as ridiculous when they should have been going for four or something like that, right?
Hey,
I
listen,
saw
you're getting a discount.
somebody posted like, "I'm selling my SP3 for a steal half of market value, 13 million."
know what's crazy, dude? It was just
Yeah.
I was more so I think I was just more blown away by the way that the numbers shot up. Like for it to start at 4 and end at 26, I was like, wow, what is like, and especially in a modern
Yeah.
car,
Yeah.
because like, what's the most modern, expensive used car that you can probably buy right now?
I
Like
mean, LaFerrari's one I think sold for 4 or 5.
a
The
Perth is go for
Devo,
like 7, right?
I don't know if they're maybe they are that high. I thought they were still
Yeah.
5. But anyways, a Devo sold for 8 something.
Woof.
Yeah, like, but then you think about it, it's like, yeah, for that SP3, you could have bought both the yellow F50 that was Ralph Lauren's old car, and
That
you could have bought a
F40.
Devo. Yeah,
Yeah,
F40 LM. Like you could have like bought multiple of these cars, and but then it's fun to play that game. It's like, oh, for
sure.
$26 million, I would buy these 12 different cars. But the people who, if you can drop 26 mil on it, you can be like, I can also have those 26 different cars.
Sure.
Nobody's being like, I am tapped out. Like, that's it. That's my life savings. I hope not, but you're just like, oh my
Oh
gosh.
man, the
Yeah.
inebriation in that room must have been something else, man. Let me tell you.
Dude, I saw somebody, apparently somebody bought like an old Beetle, like VW Beetle limousine for 300 grand.
That's crazy. If it's Jerry
Yeah.
Seinfeld, I'll laugh.
No, I don't think it was him. I think it was somebody else,
Yeah,
but yeah.
yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I mean,
It's
300,
the
dude, the
memes.
money was flowing like crazy for
Yeah.
some of those cars. And it's just like, it was more so like, I'm thinking 26 mil. And I was like, dude, the other day, people were selling F1s at 25 mil and whatnot. And I don't think you can get an F1 for 25 million anymore. I think they've gotten into like the 30 or $40 million range at this point, maybe. But the fact is, a Daytona SP3 just went for that, and it's like, and I get it, it's a special one, it's for auction and things of that nature, but it's like, man, you think to yourself, it's like, do I go with an SP3 or do I buy an or do I? And obviously, that, as you said, the person who's looking at that type of car can probably buy both, but then but you just asked the question. It's like, well, do I buy a modernized version of this Ferrari Hyper that's insane, or do I buy what the majority of car culture believes is to be the greatest car ever made? Like that's
Yeah.
a genuine question to ask, and whatnot. And it's a weird question to ask, but it's a question to ask nonetheless. It's where it's an injury. Again, we said it before. Car culture is in an amazing place right now that we got SP3s even for charity going for 20 plus. It's
26.
20. I don't even know what I'd do with 26 mil, bro. Let me tell you.
RM had an F1 for sale, the silver one. It was
Uh-huh.
rolling around there. It was a sealed auction, so we'll never likely
We'll never know what
see
the
what it
number.
actually went for. But I went to go see that car, and yeah, their estimate was in excess of 20, like on the little paper it said in excess of 23 million. So
Oof.
yeah.
I saw my very first F1 at the Peterson in July. I
Oh
went to go check out the Peterson, and I went to go see the totally awesome and 80s and 90s display that they have going on right now.
yeah,
It's super wicked. So for anybody who's going out to LA, please, for the love of God, stop at the
it's so
Peterson,
cool.
check out the display. It was my first time going, and it was amazing. And I don't plan on that being the only time that I ever go again. I
Did you
loved
do
it.
the vault tour? Did you go check out the
I
vault?
sure did. That actually, I saw the 599 GTO that was actually a RM as well, because they had it down
Oh,
there at the Peterson, and it was super super sick. Just a variety of cars were going up to RM and everything. And I was like, man, this is wicked. That museum is just the absolute. It's the bee's
so
knees,
cool.
man. It is
So cool.
4 floors worth of some of the best car history you could ever imagine and ever want to know, and
Yeah.
everything like that. But as we start to wrap up, Eddie, I know that we're getting close on time, but you've been a delight, man, and I appreciate you. But give us a little bit of a rundown of what your thoughts are on the quail. There was some dope stuff with the quail this past Friday, man.
So I think yeah, the Quail is always an amazing event. It's really hard to get tickets for it. It's really expensive. I acknowledge
Yeah.
that. But if you can get in there, like this year was slightly different for me because I have a wife there and I actually took the time to kind of relax a little bit, go eat some food, you know.
You went as Eddie instead of EddieX, the influencer and
Yeah,
YouTuber. I
kind
can
of half and
appreciate that.
half, right? But I still have to do my laps of like going to
Of
film and
course.
trying to do that. There's so many people there, but um the reveals are always cool. The press conferences, Corvette got a lot of attention with their concept cars and the Quail Special Edition, the Blades, like the matte silver one. Cadillac had their concept, a handful of concepts there, and then a couple of one-off like hypercar kind of things, which was really
Yeah, the
cool.
Gordon Murray looked sick, bro.
Oh, The GMA S1 LM is, yeah,
Yeah.
that thing is really cool. Man, can you imagine commissioning five and just be like, I take all of them? Because
Yeah.
like a regular GMA 250 is call it 3 mil. So you
Yeah.
do five based on that's 15 mil, but it's also bespoke everything, and you're amortizing that cost over yourself. So another, I don't know, 5 to 10. So like probably 20. Speaking of 26 million, you buy your own little
That's
like what?
GTA. Yeah.
What? Anyways, it was really cool. I feel like this year there might have been less people. I don't know if they're like trying to limit ticket sales or like because it's not as crowded, but they definitely added more seating, which was nice. In the past, like
Oh,
if you
that's
go get
nice.
food, there's nowhere to sit. You're just like trying to hover with your plate and whatever. Cars are amazing. There were F50 scattered everywhere. It's
Everywhere.
funny. Everybody had like a different count for how many F50s were there. I heard between like somebody saying there were 13 to somebody who said there were 17 and 16 and 15. When I counted, I saw I think 15, but like one of them had like the GT had left to go for awards because it won best in show and like some cars leave. But like when you have a variable number of F50s and you're not sure if it's somewhere between a dozen to dozen and a half, like it's crazy, right?
For sure,
The
bro.
first like a Koenigsegg CC prototype was there, and I was like, I was looking at it, and Christian von Koenigsegg came over to it. I'm like, well, that's
Mhm.
kind of cool.
So that's going to the Peterson, by the way. That's at the
Oh, is
Peterson.
it?
Yeah, it just got there today.
Oh,
So it's good. They're going to have it up in the, I don't know if it's going to be in the front, but it's at the Peterson as we speak. I just saw it get
oh,
delivered
that's
today.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an event where it's definitely much more modern leaning.
Mhm.
They'll bring some historic classes of cars, and there's like the celebration of the GT350 Shelby's. There's some old ones,
That's super
but
sick.
it's a very, very different show and vibe compared to
Pebble
Pebble.
Beach. Yeah.
Yep. We did Pebble the next day. Pebble was also, it's always cool when you can go to Pebble just to see it. The scenery is beautiful. The cars are really cool. Um, but Quail is to me now still like the highlight event. And I mean, the Sesto Elemento was there. I didn't get a chance to
Dude.
just go run around outside during the week, like go to 17 Mile or anything, because I had so many other events booked. But getting to see that there was like really cool. I'm like, hello, Sesto Elemento.
Yeah.
Like the only time I've ever
Street
seen
converted,
one.
bro.
I
Street
know.
converted.
The
Shout
only
out to
time I've
that
ever
legend.
seen one was in because they had one at the Lamborghini Museum, so I saw it there in person
Yeah.
for the first time ever. I'm like, what? And then to see it, oh yeah, that I know a lot of people were really ecstatic to see that thing out and about.
Yep.
Yeah,
I,
the
t-
quail is crazy.
Yeah, there was a couple cars at the Quail that really had me starstruck, but the Sesto Elemento, like,
Yeah,
I'd been seeing it all over social media, and I messaged Alex, and I was like, Alex, I know you're gonna find this car, and
she
when
ran
you
a pro.
do,
Yeah,
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 yeah, I was like, you need to take pictures, and for the love of everything that is holy, you need to send those to me like ASAP. And sure enough, because Alex is the homie, she went ahead and took the picture, sent them to me. She's like,
yeah.
Jorge, you can't post them for at least like another 4 or 5 hours. I was like, I don't care, Alex, I'll post it the next day. I just want to have this Sesto Elemental on my feed instead of just on my stories. And lo and behold, 11 p.m. rolls around. I'm like, it's been 5 hours, Alex. Can I go ahead and post this tomorrow? And she's like, go for it. And I was like, boom. And I did. And I was so happy. And it's like, because there's only two times that I've ever seen a Sesto Elemento on some type of on some type of media. The first time being when Richard Hammond drove it around. It was either Monza or what's the other famous
Imola?
Imola. It's around Imola, which he did it
Was
for
it
Top
that?
Gear. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was Imola. Yeah, so he drove it around Imola, and then the other time was obviously when Dino drives it in the Need for Speed movie.
Oh,
That's the only two times that I've
yeah.
ever seen a Sesto Elemento be featured in some way, shape, or form. And so
It
to
was
be,
Imola.
it
You're right.
was
Yep.
Imola, right?
Yeah.
And so to be seeing this, the fact that we've always known that it's only a track car, they only made 10 to 20 of them. And it's like somebody had the balls to street convert this thing and then drive it around Monterey. Yeah,
Lazante. They're street converting. So I thought I
everything.
heard a rumor that they're gonna street convert a Wyra R.
If they do, God bless
Like,
them.
I mean, street convert is like taking it very judiciously, right? It's like, oh, does
Sure.
it have blinkers? It has mirrors, tail lights. Like, I don't actually know what they're doing to make it street legal, and they're definitely stretching it, probably show and display. But just the fact that you can slap a license plate on it and just drive it around
Oh,
somewhere, like
so sick, dude.
it is pretty wild. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
God bless
it's
them. God bless them. Like, I mean,
uh-huh.
I'm all for it, bro. But so I saw at the Quail, there was two specific cars that thoroughly blew my mind based on what I saw online. I didn't get a chance to go to Car Week, so I was living vicariously through you and all my friends that were up
All
there.
of them,
So
yeah.
and by the way, they all did me justice, so I appreciate that very much. But I gotta tell you, the Tut Hill Myers Manx LFG, super uber rad. Like I was
Yeah.
like, dude, because Tut Hill is killing the 911K. To me is my favorite Resto Mod 911 for sale right now, even more so than Gunther and Singer. Gunther, I know, had a super cool
The
turbo
F-26.
build. Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks sick. But the one that really kind of blew my mind, dude, was and I cannot believe that I'm saying this, but I will say it right now. Their Hennessy Venom F5 Revolution. What do they call it? The LF edition, which is the name of the Gentleman's Garage, is the guy's name.
Yeah.
um, the fact that they said, hey, we're going to go ahead and make a drop top F5 Venom with 2,000 horsepower, and we're also going to give it a 6-speed gated. Like, I mean, cut the check, bro. Just cut the check, man. And the only thing I want, the only thing I request, and they're not going to do this, obviously, and whatnot, but for anybody else who orders a specific build like that, please don't order the yoke. Don't get the yoke. Just get a regular steering wheel. Like that's all. I don't ask for a lot, but just do that because it does look a little funky with the yoke. But other than that, dude, man, like it's not even about the horsepower. It's the fact that a Venom, because like the OG Venom GT, like speaking of Matt Farah, when he went ahead and drove that for tuned,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's still to me one of the coolest videos of all time. Like him ripping through the Angeles forest and that thing is amazing. And so to see this evolution 15 years later of the Venom M5 looks even better. And that
Mhm.
spec that they went ahead and picked out was absolutely like
Oh
gorgeous.
yeah. The
But like,
bronze, yeah.
yeah, oh dude, it looks so good. And even the wing, like I know people didn't like the wing. I didn't care. I thought the
Ah,
wing
it's
was
just cool.
perfectly fine with me. But just I was like, I saw the video of John driving around Carmel and I was like, that thing is just cool, dude. It's gorgeous. And
Yeah.
then you find out, oh yeah, we gave it 2,000 horsepower and a 6-speed manual. So it's basically undrivable. Like
Yeah,
that's what you're
I'm like,
telling
how are
me.
you gonna handle that thing? Like, geez.
Oh, dude, like that
Yeah.
thing will never see 100 miles an hour. But the fact that it's is that blows my mind, and I'm okay with it. I was like, I felt like that car actually made me feel like a child.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. If you're a good driver, you can, because I mean, there are people with 2,000 horsepower Vipers, twin turbo Vipers,
Yeah, Calvo
with
Vipers. Yeah.
sequential manuals. Yeah, Calvo or Nth Motor or whoever, and yeah, they'll drive them. And yeah, but like I know my limits as a driver, and if I have that much power, like I've driven 1,400 horsepower cars, I want the car to be doing all the other things. Because
Oh,
like, let's
100%.
take out one variable of like, yeah, like I don't. Manual cars around like 5 to 600. I think that's a very good sweet spot. Like
I
that's
couldn't
that's
agree
like
with you more.
you can have fun with it, enjoy it, right? You can kind of it's okay. You're not holding it back too much, but once you get
Yeah.
beyond that, just like,
Yeah.
oof.
No, I think it's fair to say for anybody who's listening and who's watching right now, Eddie is perfectly fine with the C8 Z06. He's perfectly fine. I was like, yo, now man, I'm really good.
Dude, driving it, I was like, I want one. I want one. I don't need one, but I want one.
I
I
want
don't I
one.
don't need it at all, but I want one, and I really, really want one. And it's when it first was announced, I was seriously toying with the idea. But it's like I didn't want to get rid of my Z06
Yeah.
because the Z06 is really special. Then it's like both of them? Why not? And then oh, well, I just bought a house, so I'm done.
Right.
My wife and I just bought a house. So I took that decision away. It was like it is
Yeah.
no longer a variable. So
Oh man. Hey man,
but it
you got a
is,
place
yeah.
to live. You got a place to live. You're no longer paying rent to something that is, whether it's rent or maybe
Two.
it's like no,
Yeah.
or if it's a townhome and you went ahead and actually have space, like you and your wife. You obviously now have been married for a little bit.
Yep.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And so obviously, at the end of the day, it's like, well, do I want to go ahead and buy another car that I don't need, or do I want to go ahead and buy the house so
Yeah,
then I can go
100%.
ahead and start my family and then show them, hey, listen, there's a reason why I'm one of the best YouTubers here in the United States. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Right now, I can't justify another car because I get a press car every week.
yeah,
So I don't have time. I barely have time to drive my Z06. I want to drive it more, but
Yeah, man, we got to
uh,
crank up the miles. If we got at 6,500,
trust me, yeah, it's
we got to
nothing.
kick it
That's
up.
barely 2,000 a year. Rookie numbers. It just peak first world problems. But right now, there's a Lotus
Exactly.
Electra Carbon in the garage, and then next week is what is next week? I think I have a Chevy brake drop because I'm moving, so I scheduled one of the Chevy like
Oh,
commercial vans, electric commercial van, and then it's what's after that? G63, Defender, Octa, and yeah,
oh,
it's all
Defender
over the place.
Octa, dude, you got to tell me about Defender Octa when you
I'm
drive it,
excited for
please,
that. I'm very
because I
excited to
think
try that
that
out.
might be my favorite on the market SUV right now, even more so than a G63. Like,
I'm gonna
I,
have G63 and then Defender Octa back to back. So that'll
that's
be
gonna
a
be really
cool
interesting.
comparison one week to the next. So I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to that. Yeah.
That's going to be very, very cool. Well,
Yeah.
as we go ahead and wrap up here, brother, I appreciate your time. You have been outstanding. It's been a real treat.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for
Thank you.
having taken the time. I always like to go ahead and ask my new guests who have never been on the podcast before is, you've done so much within the game and you've been an automotive enthusiast for literally your entire life. What does car culture mean to you, Eddie?
Car culture is the community. It's the people. Cars come and go. There's always new stuff, and it's the people. Absolute favorite part is opportunities like this meeting you, Jorge. We met in person before, but
Of
getting
course.
more in-depth time, and it's the relationships and friendships that come out of it, both personal and business. And that's what things like Car Week, what makes Car Week so special. There are
Mhm.
friends that I see once a year because we live on other sides of the country or the world in Monterey. We happen to be the same motel. Or just run into each other on the side of the road, right? Like,
Yeah.
and you can catch up, say hi. Some of my best friends are met through the car world, the car community, that shared love that drove other things, and friendship came out of it. That's what it means to me.
Oh, I love that, dude. And you're, by the way, you're so right. Again, I've talked about it countless times. Like
Oh yeah.
some of my very good friends that I now can call very good friends have been solely because of meeting them through this podcast, through Tormenting Tarmac and everything
Hmm.
like that. Forming friendships and relationships and things like people with you, such as yourself. You and I talked about us getting a chance to go ahead and meet the people who have inspired us to kind
Yeah,
of do
yeah.
the things that you and I do these days and whatnot. Whether you do it on a bigger scale, on a smaller scale, and it wouldn't be possible. Like I feel like when you're in a different niche, it's not always as possible to go ahead and have that close a potential of a close friendship or relationship with someone that you do admire and look up to. Cars makes that available in such a very
Hmm.
interesting way.
Hmm.
You can't, it makes it so beautiful. It really does, for lack of a better term. So
Yeah.
I couldn't
Pretty
agree with you.
awesome.
It is, man. And
Yeah.
by the way, real quick before we go ahead and wrap this on up, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Sheffield Watches. I know you're a big watch guy. I'm a watch guy too. So my Sheffield diver, I forgot to put it on because I'm silly, but huge thanks always to go ahead and Sheffield for always being so kind and gracious to us. So if anybody's out there, you're looking for a really, really solid piece at a really reasonable price, I can't suggest Sheffield enough. Sheffield All Sport Watches is where you can find them, and SheffieldWatches.com online as well. Tell him Jorgito sent you. You know what I'm saying? Tell Jay I sent you. Damn it. You know what I'm saying? I like my watch. Like,
They make some cool pieces. I've
they
looked at
do,
them.
man.
Yeah,
They're
yeah, yeah.
really cool. And
Yeah.
obviously, shout out to Sheffield partnering up with Ferriston, obviously, and teaming up with whom I consider the godfather of automotive media, if you will, and Jay Leno, even though he did it later on, but he's always been the guy. Like
Hmm.
him and Seinfeld, those guys, they've always done it in an interesting way and everything. So to this day, there's still kind of like these hierarchy of people and entertainment that
Oh
still
yeah.
love cars in a very interesting way. So
Yeah.
Eddie, for anybody who's not subscribed to you or is not following you anywhere and stuff like that, please give out your handle so that way people can go ahead and give you your support, brother.
Thanks. Yeah. EddieX, EddieX on all the platforms. Some of them is EddieX 616 because that's the horsepower output of the McLaren 12C in final factory form. Because always been a big McLaren fanboy and I needed a number because EddieX was taken. But EddieX on YouTube, Instagram, all the socials. I appreciate this. I'm gonna be in Arizona in October for like
Are
five
you
or
coming
six
to Barrett?
months. Is that in October? I'm there for another event.
Oh, okay. Well, hell, let's do it, man. Let's link
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll check.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually might be out there for the same time. Well, that was not on purpose.
Okay. Well,
Anyways, I will be out there for a little bit. So
All
We'll
right, for
connect.
sure. We'll definitely do so and whatnot. Probably hit up Four Till Four. Shout out to Four Till Four, always to be one of my favorite cars and coffees in the city and everything, and all that good stuff. So yeah, we'll definitely go ahead and make sure that we do that. Especially, it'll be nicer weather in October as opposed to
Yes.
109 as whatever was the high today and everything. But Eddie, it's been a real treat, my brother, and I
Thanks, man.
appreciate you. And for everyone listening, you can of course find this podcast on Instagram at Tormenting Tarmac, and we're on the streaming platforms of Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that good stuff. Tormenting Tarmac, same thing. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing and everything. And if you want to go ahead and catch this episode on YouTube, we're also on YouTube at Tormenting Tarmac. So that's all I got. But on behalf of Eddie, who it's been a real pleasure, my name is Jorge Aquino, and you
Appreciate
have
it.
all been listening to Tormenting Tarmac. It's the podcast where the enthusiast never dies. Good night, everybody.
See ya.